Hi, I'm Dr. Shambhu Yadav, a neuroscientist and a stress biologist from Harvard Medical School. So the procrastination is usually described like a character flaw, like you are lazy, undisciplined, unfocused. But the procrastination is not a personality problem. Procrastination is regulation problem. It's your brain trying to escape a task that feels costly in effort, costly in uncertainty, or costly in emotion. So today I am going to give you a neuroscience based way to stop procrastination and increase motivation, and I am going to do it with a framework that is different from the usual advice. So here is the central idea. You don't procrastinate because you don't care. You procrastinate because the task feels unsafe or unclear to your brain. And when brain detects threat, social threat, failure threat, overload threat, it shifts into avoidance mode. It seeks relief, and relief is the reward. And that's why the procrastination is so addictive. It works immediately, but it steals your future attention. So let's build a new system, the unique model: threat, friction, and fuel. Procrastination has three drivers. First driver is threat. The task feels emotionally risky. And then second, friction. The task feels too hard to start. And the third, fuel. The brain can't feel progress, so motivation doesn't show up. You stop procrastination by reducing threat, reducing friction, and increasing fuel. So let's go one by one. So first we'll start with threat. Why your brain avoids. A lot of procrastination is not about the task. It's about the task means. A report might mean judgment. Studying might mean I am behind. Applying for job might mean rejection. And starting a project might mean failure. Your brain treats these meanings as social threat. And the social threat triggers the same survival secretary as physical threat. So your nervous system does the smart things it avoids, and that you call it procrastination. Your brain calls it protection. So the first step is to lower the threat signal, not with positive quotes, with a better frame. And here is the line. This is a progress, not a performance. Say that before you start. Because the performance frames trigger evaluation, and evaluation triggers threats. And the process frames trigger learning, and learning feels safer. So then use the second line that is even more practical. That is, my job is not to finish. My job is to start. And starting is the nervous system barrier. Once you start, the threat drops. And the second is friction. Why starting feels impossible? Procrastination often happens because the first step is too big. Your brain sees a task like cliff, not a staircase. So it backs away. The fix is to make the start so small it's almost insulting. I call this the entry step. Like the entry step is not the real task, is the doorway task. For example, open the document and write a title. Create the folder and paste the rubric. Write the first ugly sentence. Put your clothes on and stand by the door. Write the first email line high. And here is the rule that make this work. Your entry step must take less than 90 seconds. And because your brain can tolerate 90 seconds, it cannot tolerate 2 hours of hard work. Now once you do the entry step, your brain experiences momentum. And the momentum is a biological signal. You are already in motion, and that lowers the cost of continuing. And the third is how to create motivation on demand. Motivation is not something you wait for. The motivation is what your brain releases when it predicts progress. So you need progress signal early. So I call this like evidence of movement. Like you don't need big wins. You need a small visible movement. And here are 3 quick ways to create fuel. First, fuel method A. The 10 minutes deliverable. Don't say I am going to work. Say in the 10 minutes I will produce one deliverable. A deliverable is something that exists at the end. A paragraph, a solved problem, a slide outline, a clean table, a bullet list of talking point. Deliverable create the closure, and closure releases motivation. And fuel method B, which is the before after proof. Write a quick before the line. Before I have nothing, then work for 10 minutes, then I write an after line. After I have a draft and the next step. And this is how you teach your brain that effort changes reality. Fuel method C, the progress score. At the end of the session, rate progress from 1 to 5, not mood, progress. Even a 2 is the evidence you move, and evidence is what builds the motivation loop. So the next is the procrastination kill switch, which this when you are stuck. Now I will give you the simplest tool that work in the moment. I call it the 3-2-1 reset. Like 3 minutes reduce threat, say process, not performance, and then do a short brain dump of the worry behind the procrastination. What am I afraid will happen if I do this? One sentence that's enough. This pull the thread into open. And the second, 2 minutes reduce friction. Define the entry step, the first 90 seconds, and then set up your environment. 1 tab, 1 page, phone away. 1 minute create fuel. Choose the 10-minute deliverable and start immediately. If you do this 3-2-1 reset, you almost always start. And the starting is the whole battle. Now look into the procrastination pattern. You must stop. There is one habit that keeps procrastination alive: negotiating. You sit down and your brain says, maybe later, after one more video, after I feel ready, after I plan. And that negotiation is the procrastination ritual. So you replace negotiation with a contract. I will do 10 minutes and then I can stop. Your brain can accept 10 minutes. And here is the secret. You often won't stop. But giving yourself the permission to stop removes threat and makes starting easier. Now, why motivation increases when you stop chasing it? Motivation often shows up after action because actions create progress signal. So don't ask, how do I feel motivated? Ask, what action would create a progress signal in 10 minutes? And that's the correct questions. So my friend, I will give you a 7-day anti-procrastination training plan, which is simple and realistic. If you want this to become automatic, do this for 7 days. Every day. Run 1-3-2-1 reset on your most avoidable task. Do one 10-minute deliverable. End by writing the next entry step for tomorrow. That's it. In 1 week, you are not just getting things done. You are retraining your brain's threat and reward system around effort. So my friend, the procrastination is not laziness, it's a threat plus friction plus missing fuel. So reduce the threat with process frame, reduce friction with 90-second entry step, create fuel with 10-minute deliverable, Do that consistently and motivation stops being mysterious. It becomes the predictable result of progress. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.